Welcome back to Awakening Reformation, where Reformation awakens now. My name is Grant, and joined with me, as always, is my beautiful wife, Erica, the weaker vessel.
Hello, everyone.
If you would like to find out more about Awakening Reformation podcast, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. The Twitter handle is at AwakenReformPod. You can email us, awakeningreformation@gmail.com. You can find us on iTunes and all other podcast catchers and apps. You can subscribe, rate, and review us, please. We would greatly appreciate it. We also love the interaction and feedback you guys give us on social media.
Yep. Y'all are extra.
Yes. What else?
We still have our giveaway going on for the month of July. We are trying to get rid of /
bless you
with some Awakening Reformation swag.
That's what I'm talking about.
So, all you have to do is go on iTunes, Facebook, your podcast app, whatever you're using, and leave us a review.
Yep.
By doing that, you are automatically entered into the giveaway. We have a tumbler, we've got a couple t-shirts, we have some stickers, all kinds of good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So leave us a review and your name will get put into a hat for that giveaway.
And at the end of July, we will pull it out and
announce the winner
and give away some stuff. It'll be fun.
That's right.
So again, please, if you like us, share us on social media. We greatly appreciate it.
And for those of you who have been sticking it out through all the crazy sounds that we've been going through the last couple weeks, you guys are awesome.
Yes, thank you for your perseverance.
We know we've been all over the map. We got some new equipment. Our friend Sandra Rowlett did a GoFundMe for us. That was super awesome. So we got some new equipment. We're still learning how to work with it. We
had to go get that YouTube education.
Listen, I am Audacity certified.
Right. Via YouTube.
That's right. We have been playing with it and working through some stuff. And anyway, we're learning. So thank you for being gracious and hanging in there with us.
Yeah. So tonight on the docket is a Q&A episode. Got a bunch of listener questions throughout the last couple months. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to address those and answer them. And
we're going to nail a few of these down, hopefully.
Yeah, these are fun.
It's fun. We really enjoy the Q&A episodes. They're more lighthearted mostly, and they're just a good time.
Yeah, and these are ones that we maybe didn't want to answer with a Facebook reply.
Yes.
Quick Facebook reply.
Some of them we could have, but some of them are definitely not just a quick response.
Yeah.
So
keep sending in your questions and keep asking them.
The first question that we get asked, actually quite a bit,
dun, dun, dun,
is why do you refer to me as the weaker vessel? It seems derogatory.
It probably does to many people. I think you should probably answer this one.
Oh my goodness. Okay. If you listen back at our earlier episodes, which are, you'll see that there were 2 other people who were on the podcast with us, one of which was an elderly gentleman named George. And George and I have a relationship in which we like to poke at each other.
Yep.
It's
kind of like siblings almost.
Except for not.
Except for.
No, we love each other and we're constantly just teasing each other.
A hard time. Yeah,
it's all lighthearted and fun. But I referred to him as the seasoned saint, and he coined the tagline "weaker vessel," and it just kind of stuck.
Which is biblical.
It's biblical. And it's something that I actually wear as a badge of honor to be called the weaker vessel, because it's a biblical term.
Mm-hmm.
To be the weaker vessel is really to just take on the role that God has given to a woman, to be the helpmate to her husband, to just embrace the role that God has given to a woman. If you want to hear a little bit more about all of that, you can go back actually and listen to the Rebel Alliance podcast episode that I was able to be a guest on.
Yeah.
And I kind of talk about that in a little bit more depth. So just go check them out. And it's not derogatory.
It was not my idea.
It's not derogatory. I don't think you can call a title that the Bible gives to a woman derogatory. I think that you're probably looking at that wrong.
Right. Again, we would just point back to our complementarian beliefs that the Bible has laid out specific gender roles that work together. So yeah, not my idea. It was George. Blame George.
It's easy to blame George. He's not on the podcast.
I know, right?
Yeah. So go back, listen to that Rebel Alliance episode, and you'll hear more about complementarianism and why I embrace that. But yeah, so
Awesome.
Grant just doesn't have a nickname. He never had a nickname. I don't know why you didn't get a nickname.
Nobody gave me a nickname.
I don't know.
I'm your host, Grant.
It's just Grant and I on the podcast now, so I'm just the only one with a nickname, and that's fine.
All right, what's next?
We're going to break these down into podcast episodes. So
Okay.
on the paranormal episode,
Yeah.
we had a question about Saul's witch.
Yes.
And I think this is in reference to when we said that souls can't just be wandering about, so like conjuring and stuff.
Yeah.
Like if a medium tried to contact your grandpa, she's
Right.
not talking to your grandpa.
Yeah.
You know. This person asked, what about Saul's witch? Did Saul's witch actually contact Samuel,
Mm-hmm.
1 Samuel 28, or was that just demonic?
All right, so 1 Samuel 28, starting in verse 6. And when Saul inquired of the Lord did not answer him, either by dreams or by Urim or by prophets. Then Saul said to his servants, Seek out for me a woman who is a medium, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servants said to him, Behold, there is a medium at Endor. It's kind of interesting even here that mediums were outlawed and it was a capital crime to be one, yet his servants were like, oh, I know where one is.
Yeah.
Why do you know that? So verse 8, So Saul disguised himself and put on other garments and went, he and 2 men with him. And they came to the woman by night, and he said, Divine for me by a spirit, and bring up for me whomever I shall name to you. And the woman said to him, Surely you know what Saul has done, how he has cut off the mediums and the necromancers from the land. Why then are you laying a trap for my life to bring about my death? But Saul swore to her by the Lord, As the Lord lives, no punishment shall come upon you for this thing. Then the woman said, Whom shall I bring up for you? He said, Bring up Samuel for me. When the woman saw Samuel, she cried out with a loud voice. And the woman said to Saul, Why have you deceived me? You are Saul. The king said to her, Do not be afraid. What do you see? And the woman said to Saul, I see a god coming up out of the earth. He said to her, What is his appearance? And she said, An old man is coming up, and he is wrapped in a robe. And Saul knew that it was Samuel, and he bowed with his face to the ground and paid homage. Then Samuel said to Saul, Why have you disturbed me by bringing me up? Saul answered, I am in great distress, for the Philistines are warring against me, and God has turned away from me, and answers me no more, either by prophets or by dreams. Therefore I have summoned you to tell me what I shall do. And Samuel said, Why then do you ask me, since the Lord has turned from you and become your enemy? The Lord has done to you as he spoke by me, for the Lord has torn the kingdom out of your hand and given it to your neighbor David, because you did not obey the voice of the Lord and did not carry out his fierce wrath against Amalek. Therefore the Lord has done this thing to you this day. Saul he enters into a bunch of anguish and remorse and lays down on the floor, and he's so sad because Samuel then says, Tomorrow you and your sons will die, which means the end of a dynasty. And even the medium is like, do you want some food? You haven't eaten all day or all night. Saul is so self-loathing, he says, no, I can't even eat anything right now. So this is the story that this question comes from.
Basically being a witch was against a law, God's law, but also a law which Saul enforced.
Yeah.
Like you could basically be put to death if you were found trying to find a sorcerer or a witch.
Yeah.
He breaks God's law and he breaks his own law, goes to find this witch, and asks the witch to get a hold of the prophet Samuel, who has deceased, and basically see what Samuel has to say about regaining God's favor. Saul was upset that God's favor had left him and that his enemies were basically at his doorstep.
Exactly. So did the medium bring Samuel up from the dead?
That's the question.
That's the question.
Was it actually Samuel?
Yeah, that's the first question, true.
And if it was Samuel, how is it that Samuel was able to come back?
So I do believe it was Samuel.
Most Bible scholars do.
Yeah, most Bible scholars do believe it was Samuel. The conversation he has with Saul before he died, the pronouncement of the kingdom being torn from him, being torn from Saul, is the same conversation Samuel and Saul had. And during that conversation, Samuel said, because you disobeyed, God is no longer going to answer your prayers, basically. You're going to inquire of the Lord in all the approved ways by Urim, by prophets, by dreams and all that. and he's not going to listen. He's done with you, Saul. As Samuel is walking away, Saul grabs his robe, and his robe rips apart, and that's when Samuel says, the kingdom has been torn from you. So when the vision of Samuel comes up and he sees the robe, Bible scholars say this is why Saul instantly knew that it was Samuel, because that robe would have been a very vivid reminder of God's pronouncement of the kingdom being torn from him. So I do believe it was Samuel. He doesn't deny it. Now, I don't think the medium actually brought Samuel up with her conjuring. And the reason being is all she does is ask Saul, who do you want me to bring up? And he says, bring up Samuel. And then it says she saw Samuel and she cried out with a loud voice.
Yeah, she freaked out.
Yeah, she screamed and freaked out.
There was no incantation or spell that brought Samuel about.
Yep.
It was almost as if she was getting ready to do her spell and Samuel just popped
Showed
out
up.
of nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah. And, obviously Saul is seeking a prophet through a unlawful means.
Mm-hmm.
He's seeking out wisdom from God through an unholy medium.
Yeah, it's like going to church at a strip club.
Exactly, right?
Well, God condescends in a way.
Right. And in some sense, he goes, okay, you want Samuel? Here you go. And Samuel shows up and goes, what do you want? Why are you bringing me up?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you inquiring of me? I'm dead. I've already told you what's going to happen to you. And he reiterates the pronouncement. And then he goes further. He says, and actually tomorrow, you and your sons are going to die.
It almost reminds me of Romans 1 where, God hands them over to their deceitful lusts.
Yeah.
This thing that Saul wanted so badly, which wasn't to glorify God.
Nope.
In fact, he was indeed breaking God's law. He was going to utilize the witch to get God in his corner again.
Yeah, that's good.
It just makes me think of like Romans 1, like I said, where God just, all right, that's what you want. You think that's what's going to make you happy? You think that if you can twist my arm and whatever and do things your own way and you don't want to obey my laws, that's fine. You do things your way, but it's going to end in death.
Yeah, exactly. You think this is how you're going to get blessing? Let's see what happens. See what happens.
It's not going to end well.
Yeah. And we see that too in his answer to Samuel when Samuel says, why'd you bring me up? He goes, I am in great distress. The Lord won't listen to me. The Philistines are after me. Mm-hmm. And it's completely self-centered.
Right.
Saul wasn't showing signs of repentance by trying to find Samuel, i.e., the medium he's going through. Obviously, he's not in a state of repentance and turning away from his sin by seeking Samuel.
Right.
He's just looking for a way out, just like you said.
Yep. So I hope that answers the question. Another one that we had on this paranormal episode, which was quite a popular episode, actually, surprisingly.
Yeah, people were like, this was a crazy episode, but I liked it.
So we had a question from Gabe, and he basically asked us, is it okay to watch, like, scary movies? Does that open a door, potentially, to satanic influences?
So we'll split this apart. Is it okay? I would put this under the category of Christian liberty and Christian conscience, where some people's consciences may just be more sensitive to, certain genres of movie. Mm-hmm. I know I don't particularly like horror movies a lot of the time. Just not what I like, and I don't really enjoy. I just don't enjoy it. But I think, I think there's some part of Christian liberty there.
I think there's a distinction to be made to, what's a scary movie to one person might not be what the other person's considering as a scary movie. There's a distinct difference between, like, a film like The Day After Tomorrow and Poltergeist. We would say there certainly are films that are more explicitly demonic than others. Yeah,
and I think we would say that the stuff that we probably should just steer clear from are the ones that glorify demonic activity.
And we have to realize that nothing is neutral. Every film that's produced is preaching a message to us and to our families and to society. And we, as Christians, need to realize that, and we need to determine, is this a biblical message of good conquering evil? Is this a message of evil winning, evil...
Yeah, being dominant.
Yeah. And I guess another thing that I would ask is, when we're watching certain films,